Fresh tensions are erupting once again in the Gulf, with new military exchanges reported around the Strait of Hormuz, rising fears of a wider regional escalation and global markets reacting nervously. Iran says its forces confronted vessels near Hormuz and struck what it called an American airbase, while the United States says it intercepted Iranian drones it viewed as a threat. Here's a full roundup of the latest developments from the Gulf. The fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran is facing renewed strain after a series of military incidents around the Strait of Hormuz and southern Iran. Iranian media close to the Revolutionary Guard says the IRGC Navy confronted a U.S. oil tanker attempting to transit through the Strait of Hormuz after allegedly switching off its radar system. According to the semi-official Tasnim news agency, Iranian naval forces fired warning shots, forcing the vessel to turn back. The report also claimed that the United States carried out strikes near Bandar Abbas, with explosions reported in areas close to the strategic southern port city. Soon after, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced that it had struck what it described as an American airbase in response to the reported U.S. attack near Bandar Abbas. In a statement carried by Iranian media, the IRGC warned that any future aggression would receive what it called a more decisive response. The location of the alleged airbase was not disclosed. Meanwhile, Reuters and the Associated Press, citing unnamed U.S. officials, reported that American forces shot down for Iranian attack drones near the Strait of Hormuz. The reports also say the U.S. military targeted a drone control station in Bandar Abbas that was allegedly preparing to launch another drone. U.S. officials described the operations as purely defensive and said they were intended to maintain the ceasefire and protect American forces in the region. Iranian media is also reporting further naval confrontations in the Strait of Hormuz. Tasnim says Iranian naval forces intercepted for vessels attempting to enter the Gulf without coordinating with Iranian authorities. According to the report, the vessels ignored initial warnings, prompting Iranian forces to fire warning shots before forcing them to retreat. The latest incidents come amid growing tensions over Iran's newly established Persian Gulf Strait Authority, a body Tehran created to oversee requests from ships seeking to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The United States has now added the authority to its sanctions list, increasing pressure on Iran as Washington pushes for a broader agreement to end the conflict. At the White House, President Donald Trump said negotiations with Iran are continuing, but stressed that Washington would only accept what he called a great deal.
Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the Strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the Strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Mr. President?
So they were going to spend maybe $400 million? I don't know. You never know. In addition to that, you have a lot of boats. You have about 1,500 boats in the Strait wanting to get out, and at the right time we'll release them.
But the American people, sir, are seeing higher gas prices.
Yeah,
now, it's come down a little bit, but it's still $4.45.
Oh, it'll come down a lot. It'll come down to where it was before. We had it.
Predators, murderers, drug dealers.
We had oil, we had gasoline down to a very low number. I think we'll be hitting that number shortly after that whole excursion ends.
Does that give you more urgency?
But regardless of anything, as Marco said better than anybody can say it, you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it instantly. They wouldn't think about it. They would use it instantly. I've gotten to know them. They would use it instantly.
Does that give you more urgency, Mr. President? You've said that you're in no rush to make a deal, but with gas prices that are still high across the country, people are paying more for travel. Does that give you more urgency to make a deal? Why doesn't it?
Well, I'll tell you, the primary urgency I have, I said this, it wasn't covered properly, but the primary urgency is that we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, we have a tremendous amount of oil, tremendous amount of area. You know, Iran would have had if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks from that date because they were ready to go. And if they had a nuclear weapon, it would have been used already. It also would have been used had I not terminated the Obama deal, the Iran nuclear deal as we call it, That was in my first term. Had I not terminated that, they would have had a nuclear weapon a long time ago. I would say it was a guarantee that it would have been used, and it would have blown up Israel, it would have blown up the entire Middle East. It's thousands of feet long, very wide.
Would you be comfortable with Russia or China taking their stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and have they offered to do that?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable.
Mr. President,
That would not make me comfortable.
is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran to allow Iran to sell its crude to market?
No, we're not talking about any easing of sanctions or giving money. No sanctions, no money, no nothing. We have control of money that they claim is theirs. We'll keep control of that money. When they behave properly and when they do what's right, we'll let them have their money. But right now, we're not doing that, and it's not, one thing is not contingent on the other.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
It's got a group of people running it now that are having a hard time, but they really.
how would you characterize the current state of the talks with Iran? I guess if it were a football field, what yard line would you be on?
Well, I think we're doing very well. I think they're starting to give us the things that they have to give us, and if they do, that's great. And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
Is there a time frame in your mind?
What?
Is there a time frame in your mind for?
I mean, it happens quickly. The problem is every time I mention a time frame, for instance, I see, we've been doing this for a few months. Vietnam lasted 19 years. Korea lasted 8 years. Afghanistan lasted many years. They were all many, many years, and we're into it for a few months. And I read about you people like you. What's taking so long? But we're in it. And it's a very important thing. We can't have people looking at the Washington Monument.
Would you accept an agreement with Iran that just calls for further talks on the uranium, or
No.
is the only option in
Well,
your
the
mind
basics,
one
no,
for?
I would for some of it, because it's a memorandum of understanding for speed. One of the things that will happen is the Strait will open immediately, but it's got to be perfect. I'm not going to do this. I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement. The worst agreement ever signed was by Barack Hussein Obama. What a horrible agreement that was. It was a setback for this country, for the whole world. The Middle East would have blown itself up. No, and we'd like to have the countries we were talking about, with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and the others, we'd like to have them immediately join and Steve Witkoff is working on that with Jared and some others, but would like to have them join the Abraham Accords. It'll be historic if they do it. And I think they owe that to us, to be honest. I think, because that really would be a tremendous sign. And I think those countries owe it to us.
Mr. President.
Steve, are you going to get them to sign?
We're definitely pushing it, Mr. President.
I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign. You want to know the truth? If they don't sign to join the Abraham Accords, I don't know that we have countries in there already. UAE, great countries, bold countries. And it's turned out to be so good, so effective, and so we're requesting strongly that they join. It'll be great. It'll be great for Saudi Arabia. It'll be great for Qatar and Kuwait, the whole group. They really like this administration. They love this administration more than any administration they've ever had, and they're thanking me all the time. And I see those.
So the Iran deal might be contingent on more countries joining the
I don't know.
Accords.
I don't want to say that. I'm not going to give you, what's contingent, what's not. I can say that we can make a good deal right now, but maybe not a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, we're not making it. Because we can make a great deal with this guy right here. And but it's it's a lot nastier. Probably wouldn't go as quickly. We wouldn't be talking about it as quickly, but it would be foolproof. But I think we're doing very well, Steve. I think we're doing pretty well in terms of the negotiation, but we'll see. If it's not going to be a real deal, because Obama had that horrible JCPOA, whatever it was the worst deal. It was a path for Iran to have a nuclear weapon very quickly. Years ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We might not be here talking about it right now. They would have had a nuclear weapon. And frankly, Obama picked the wrong country. He should have picked another country. I won't tell you what it was. But he picked the wrong country when he picked Iran. But we have things understood now with Iran. It's been nasty. They've lost their leaders. They've lost. And it really is regime change. We didn't set out for regime change. But by the fact that we're dealing with a totally different group of people than we were at the beginning. And frankly, I find them to be much more reasonable. I actually find them to be smarter, but I find them to be much more reasonable. This is regime change. One regime is gone, another regime is gone, we're dealing with the third. Pieces of it, because some of them are gone too. And I find them, I think, how can you have a stronger regime change than that, you know?
Thank you, Stress.
Trump made the remarks during a cabinet meeting where Iran negotiations overshadowed discussions on domestic issues including immigration, inflation, and the economy. The US president is facing increasing pressure from both Republicans and Democrats to bring the conflict to an end, especially as concerns grow over the economic fallout of prolonged instability in the Gulf. And markets are already reacting. Oil prices jumped roughly 2% after reports of fresh US strikes on Iranian-linked targets. Brent crude rose above $96 a barrel, while US crude climbed past $90. Asian stock markets also opened lower, with benchmark indexes in South Korea, Hong Kong, and Australia falling as investors monitored developments in the Gulf. The Strait of Hormuz remains at the center of the crisis. Nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply normally passes through the narrow waterway, meaning even limited confrontations there can immediately impact global energy markets and trade routes. For now, diplomacy and military escalation appear to be unfolding side by side. Negotiations between Washington and Tehran are still ongoing, but with fresh strikes, drone interceptions, and naval confrontations being reported almost daily, fears are growing that the region could once again move closer to a wider conflict.